I thank y'all for being here. Certainly good to be able to talk to you with some positiveness about a game that we won against New Mexico State, and it sort of parallels what I've been saying all along about this league. And I think there may be a couple of teams in our league that are a little better than us in the normal rank and file, but pretty much everybody can beat everybody on anybody on a given day. And coming in, they had a couple of wins, I think, and obviously could move the football and do some things, score the ball, and college football, a la college football, all the rules protect the offense and enhance the offense and keep you from being as good maybe as we once were on defense. And but the game was highly competed, and those guys played hard, our guys played hard, and our guys played hard with emotion and like you're supposed to play the game, and we were able to get out with a pretty solid win at the end, and I'm very proud of the coaches and the players, and I'm proud to be sitting here today with a chance to say we won a game. So that doesn't mean anything about the upcoming game. Certainly, Scott Satterfield and Appalachian State is a good enough football team to beat Troy. I hope that we're a good enough football team to beat them. We are a little bit beat up and got some repairs to make, body repairs to make on our football team. But we're working hard on that as we speak. We gave them last night off and a day off. We met yesterday and lifted yesterday, and then we're gonna have a little meeting this afternoon and start prepping them on Appalachian State, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, regular week of practice. Just trying to give them some time to recover from a pretty grueling physical and mental first half of the year. So, 1-5, is that right? 1-5. It's hard to see anything but that right now, but there's still some opportunity if we play good enough. Questions?
Coach, a couple of guys said this week we're like practice wrapped up a little bit after the bye week. How much do you attribute that to your announcement, and then maybe just after you guys were on 5 and it was home run and trying to still win?
Well, I don't, I'd hate to know that the guys got fired up because I'm quitting. I think anytime you tweak the emotions of a bunch of humans, you got a chance to get a positive and or a negative response. And I tried to handle the kids with kid gloves, the way I did the thing, and it was time to let them know. It was time to maybe hope that they would be motivated by what we said to them. And I've never had as locked in a football team as I had in the room on Sunday night when I told them what I was going to do. So, if it helped them, I'm glad it helped them. I didn't do it to try to change the momentum of the season. And so I'm proud that they responded in a positive manner and have handled it the way they have, and certainly the win is the icing on the cake. We just need to make sure we keep icing, if you know what I mean.
Coach, what do you attribute the great running game
Well, if you check, there's some pretty good running teams that have faced them that have rushed the football pretty well against them, and obviously, we felt like we could run the football on them, and Burks gets us off to a great start, and dang quarterback carries it 20 times in the course of the game. It doesn't look like it. You probably wouldn't think that looking back on the game, but he carried it 20 times. Probably a couple of plays in there where bad snaps or whatever, but he carried it 20 times and did a good job with it. And but I think, and I've said all along, I thought our offensive line was good enough to rush the football, and you got to have a certain. I think we had over 300, and that's old school around here. We hadn't done that in a long time, and if I had my druthers, we'd do it like that every time. But then you don't want to take the Chandler Worthies and the Brian Holmes and the KD Edenfields and all those young receivers out of the game either. But that offensive line, they came to play, and I hope that they realize that they can do that every week.
Is the attitude kind of looser around the team now that you have the win and got it out of the way?
I don't know. I've been around them a pretty good bit, but the coaches have met with them and will meet with them again today, and hopefully we will get maybe a walkthrough in. But they've been. I don't think it. You try to get everybody to sull up when you get beat. There's still life's got to go on, and you got to live, and but you can't go around with your lips stuck out, or you won't have a good attitude about anything. And so I think our guys have been mature through the whole thing. There have been some tough situations, when you lose 2 or 3 in a row, or you lose to somebody you're not supposed to, and but usually the leadership element or the older players on your team and your coaches are able to subdue that negativity and get it back toward positive, and that's what we've been able to do, and that's, I think, the reason that we were able to have a positive frame of mind going into last week. And I feel like they will be ready to play this week. This team is, I've seen them in all 3 phases, and they're very, very capable. Quarterback's a young guy but can really throw the football. They're a big vertical offensive football team, throwing the ball down the field, and the deep curls, and defensively they're a 3-4 team, which gives you a chance to be heavy rush or heavy cover with a couple of steps, and so they have some capability to disguise, and you have to adjust after the ball turns over.
They are the newcomer to Sun Belt and FBS play. Do they like a team that's a newcomer?
The newcomer may win our league. Let me tell you about them newcomers. Y'all remember Abilene Christian? What did I tell you about them? And they newcomer to 1AA, and they understand how to. I mean, players are players, and I've heard that some of the guys going from 1AA to 1 or FBS have a harder time maybe creating the quality numbers all the way up to 85, and that's probably more so true than when you're dealing with a 2 to 1AA or FCS. You can pile a bunch of numbers in there, and the quality is up to you. You can get transfers without them having to sit, and all that. So I'd say from where I sit and look and observe, and maybe a little bit of experience is, if you're going from 2 to 1AA, you can have a good time early. If you're going from 1AA to 1A, it's a little bit more difficult because you have to jump one. You have to take. You don't want to just give everybody a scholarship to get to 85. You want to give quality people scholarships to get to 85. And I'm sure though that they've been working on this for the ones that are new coming in have been working on this for a while. Georgia Southern wins against Florida last year at 1AA. But I don't think there's a whole lot of difference. I talked to a coach from New Mexico State, you know, and they're down in numbers from 85. So I mean, that was, you know, I'm not going to give you the information he gave me, but they're not, quote, at 85, and and I think they also had some APR penalty, which means they don't get to practice or meet on Fridays, is what he told me. And which, you know, you can make that work. It has to be your off day probably, and you have to work them on different days. So.
The defensive line has really, really improved the past couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see as the reasoning behind that?
Well, they're good players, good athletes, and we got some others that we stuck out there that we are hoping to bring along, and it took them about 3 plays to score. So you know, we got our first 4, and maybe 1 or so are good enough to go out there and win the game for you. Them other guys have got to come on, you know, the younger front 4, and also younger linebackers. And right now we're, you know, Mitch Rowland is playing a lot of ball, you know, and he's been sort of a backup or mix in at Mike, and we need to get some folks well in that front 7 to compensate for, you know, and maybe place. I think we can play 1, maybe 2 of those young guys are backups with a couple of the other guys in there, but I don't know if we can put the whole unit out there. But they've done good. I'm proud of them, and certainly Jamal and 44, Billy Dobbs, Lonnie Goshen, you know, those guys are pretty seasoned guys, you know, been around a little bit. Proud to have them, though. Hope we can stay well.
Also having the Sun Belt special teams player of the weekend, the defensive player of the week.
Well, you know, they both deserved it, certainly. I don't know who else was in competition with them, but y'all excuse me, but you know, you don't. I mean, everybody wants to talk about their kickoff return, but Chandler made at least 2 tackles on punt cover as a gunner. That ain't no easy work now. And then, you know, I tell you, when he ran the little toss sweep at the end, you know, the little flip play, you know, he got a couple of little blocks out there, but he just, you know, he torched them. And you know, I'm really, really proud of his senior campaign to this juncture, you know, and the defensive, that guy just stays busy and makes plays, you know, Jamal does, and I think we gave him some opportunities that maybe with a little twist game that helped him a little bit, maybe to get freed up, but they had a hard time blocking him just on a straight rush.
How much of the offensive success can be attributed to Silver's gaining more experience and confidence each week?
I think I think it's big a big factor that he's evolving as a player at that position, and the style of play that he uses or he has or possesses allows him to be good for us because he can run the football, and we can do some things with wide receivers, running backs, and then when you know, he makes them, you know, they have to account for another gap really, and so he's really done good. I knock on wood. I hope he can continue to grow and improve. I think he can, and you know, we had Chandler wide open 5 yards behind the corner, and he overthrew him. And then he probably was thinking about that, and he threw one right on top of him, and Chandler couldn't get to it, and the guy intercepted in the end zone. That's you know, that's about it. You know, as far as what visual mistakes, I'm sure he didn't have a perfect grade other than that, but he does pretty good, and he's throwing the ball where he's supposed to, and he's taking the ball out and running himself when he's supposed to, and you know, I've been real pleased myself, and I think Kenny and Coach Reagan that work with him a lot more think he's moving in the right direction for this football team.